We're back with part 6 of our video series where I'm teaching you how to build a WordPress website from scratch using Kadence, and you know we're going to be doing it workshop style. In this video, I'm going to teach you how to customize any page on your WordPress website using Kadence Blocks. Now, in this particular example, I'm going to go through how to customize the homepage, but you can follow along with this tutorial regardless of what page you're working on. So if you are going to be customizing an about page, a contact page, a service page, or anything else, you can definitely follow along with this tutorial, and I hope that you get a ton of value from it. So without further ado, let's dive in and get started and talk about the content first. Okay, so if you can recall, we used the AI Starter Templates plugin in the very beginning of this series in order to get a rough draft online for our homepage. So a homepage already exists for us. But I love to encourage every single one of my design customers to take a step back away from WordPress, away from the tool, and go write your content on a blank page. So the easiest way to get started with this is not by investing in some fancy wireframing tool, although you probably could. I like to just open a blank Google Doc and write out my content in kind of a black and white manner on this Google Doc. So I have it pulled up for you here, and I've already outlined how I want my content to flow. I've been thinking through all of the goals that we talked about in the first video of the series, and I'm like making sure every single one of those goals are being met with content on the homepage. So the first section I have here is the hero section, and it has a beautiful headline, descriptive text, and 2 calls to action buttons. I want to, on the design, actually style this so the adopted pet is the primary CTA, and we'll style the other one in more of like an outline type of a design, which is a secondary call to action. Then on the next section, I love to follow the story brand framework and include some sort of problem statement somewhere right underneath the hero section. Donald Miller wrote Building a Story Brand, and it is amazing. I highly recommend you guys check that book out if you haven't already, because in it, he talks about how important it is that we highlight a problem so that our audience actually pays attention to our brand. And it's just human nature. We want to go and solve problems. So if we highlight a problem, then we immediately introduce one of the solutions to those problems through our services and offerings, people are going to pay better attention. So I have a little problem statement here that says every animal deserves a second chance. I go into a little bit more of that description there. And then I have 2 ways that I want to feature the adoption process. So we want to invite someone to adopt dogs and showcase about 4 of them, and then adopt cats and showcase about 4 of them as well. Now, I think I like the way that this is kind of laid out, but I'm not 100% sure. Let me show you how I did this. All you do is you come up here and you add a title, for instance, and then I actually highlight this, and then I go into, instead of normal style, I will choose whichever actual heading I intend to do on the actual homepage. And then underneath it, I just go insert a table, and then I make it a 4x1. And then I just add some content here like that. So this is a great way to just kind of create that wireframe structure without having too much of the design decisions. Underneath this adoption area, we also have a call to action to become a foster family. So that's a second call to action that I have in this spot. Then underneath that, I want to communicate that there are other ways to get involved. They could donate, volunteer, or join any of the community events we have coming up. I want to explain who we are with a small little about section. Quick tip on the about section on the homepage: if you can express empathy and authority in this section, you will hopefully give enough information about your business to entice someone to either want to learn more about you or to continue just browsing through all of your offers on the page. So empathy is a statement like, I understand what you're going through, and authority is, and I'm qualified to help you because. So if you can kind of combine those 2 things of understanding where the customer might be struggling and also presenting that you're the right fit for the job because of all of your accolades, that is usually a winning formula for a quick little bio on your about page, or the about section, excuse me, on your homepage. So then underneath that, I want to include some social proof via testimonials. So I've labeled this, it says positive pet stories. Get it? Positive, get it? And then after that, we're going to have a final call to action, which is all about making a difference today. So if I were to not have done this exercise and like curated the messaging that I wanted, and I just went into this, I would have tried to shove my content into this layout. And instead, I personally believe that content dictates design, not the other way around. So I want to now modify my design based on the content we just outlined. And I hope that that is something that you can learn to practice as well as you're building out any of your web pages using Kadence or any other design tool, honestly. So now we can come in here and click on Edit Page, and that will allow us to start customizing this page to our heart's content. The other thing you could do is clone this page as well if you want to leave the existing homepage as it was, but I'm pretty confident that we can kind of modify a few things here. Now, this particular design instance for this hero section is pretty dark overall. So if you want to change out the hero section, you can click on this design library tab, and Kadence has hundreds of pre-designed patterns, which are also synonymously called sections, and also full page designs here as well. So you can seriously go through all of these and just one click import the design onto your page. So whether you need that full page or just a section, it's really easy to say, oh, I don't love the way that this is working, but let me just tweak something really quickly. So let's take a look at these hero sections. I'm on the hero option here and see what other design options we have for us. So we could go with like a full hero section like this. And it has like a light overlay, but sometimes if you don't have the right photo, that's a challenge for people, specifically with accessibility needs. So I think I might stay away from that sort of design. This one as well, we could have like the fade or the gradient on top of it. We could also have, this one's a really cute one, the hero number 6. If you see the Pro option, that means that it's using some version of Kadence Blocks Pro. And so you have to have the Blocks Pro installed in order to utilize those. We do have that. So we can use any of these, but just keep that in mind. Okay. So let's keep scrolling through and see what we want to do. I kind of like this hero 5. Let's opt for that option and let's insert that here instead. So let's move this guy up, and this is going to be our new hero section. Let's give this a background style, although right now we have the transparent header turned on. So if we go with this hero style, we'll probably have to change that. So something to keep in mind, which in the next video, I think we're going to be customizing our header anyway, so we can kind of address that later. So let's go ahead and give this a lighter background, and let's swap out this image and let's find a different image. So we are talking about in the headline of our content that we want to open your heart and home to a pet in need. So I liked this image originally because it's a cute little boy running with his dog on a bridge, but I really want that homey feel since we are using the word home. So this one's kind of cute with the dog and the girl doing yoga. We could also get this, sweet couple and the dogs are being tended to here. So let's try that one and let's hit select. So now it's a sweet little family and they have their animals there. So that kind of works. Let's go ahead and get our content in here. So we have this open your home to a pet in need. I'm going to just paste that style. We don't need this overline text there, so I'll delete that. We're going to just copy and paste our content in here. And then we have 2 calls to action, adopt a pet today. So let's go ahead and change that. Adopt a pet. And I think I'm going to leave off the word today. Now I also wanted to have a secondary call to action here. So I'm just going to go ahead and duplicate this and it will clone that for me. And then I'm going to say foster today. Now, I don't want there to be too many buttons overpowering because then it kind of dilutes the messaging overall. So we really want to create some visual hierarchy to say, I really want you to click on this button first, but also if you're into this, you could click on the secondary one. The way we're going to create that is by, on the second one, let's go to Style and let's redesign this a little bit so that it has an outline. Now, before I actually restyle this, let me point one thing out. These buttons have the fill, outline, and theme options. Because I'm using the Kadence theme and I've already customized all of our settings in the theme customizer, I just like to use this theme button and it matches all of the buttons everywhere on my website. It's just an easy button in my opinion versus if I clicked on the fill option or the outline option and had to kind of customize all of those, but other buttons aren't matching other places of my theme. So we could style these fill and outline to match the theme exactly and save those as default. So anytime that you customize something, you can go to block defaults, click as save as default so that you don't have to style it again and again and again. So that is an option if we wanted to, but since I already have the theme option here, the way I'm going to create this outline is just jump over to the style tab, change the background color to be transparent, change the color of the actual text to be our H1. And then let's give this a 2-pixel border with our H1 as well in order for it to kind of feel like a secondary option. Then we need to change our hover settings. So our background color, I still want to have that hover color, and then this can become the white. So when it still hovers, it's got an impact there, but that works really nicely. So let's go ahead and save this and let's refresh or preview this in a new tab. Yeah, I mentioned that transparent header is not going to work for us anymore, but one way we can play around with the settings without going and changing all of that right now is just to disable the transparent heading underneath these page settings. I think that's a great way to get started. And let's go ahead and hit save and refresh this. And we'll address that on another time. So now we have open your heart and home to a pet in need. This is looking pretty good. I kind of think I'd like for the image to be a little bit larger. So let's come and click into this row layout, and I'm going to move this over to be about 60-40 or maybe even 65-35. Let's go 60-40 and hit save, and let's see how that looks on our device. Yeah, so I like having a little bit bigger image there. I think that's looking pretty good. So now this section, I actually like the contrast here between here and here. So I'm wondering if maybe we could use this kind of style for the next section underneath, but we'll see. Let's go and check out what we had laid out. So we have this adopt, don't shop. Every animal deserves a second chance with some more content. And then we need some way to call people to action to adopt the dogs and cats. Okay. So what we could do here is, first of all, let's eliminate some of this margin and padding. And I'm going to give this about extra large on top and bottom. Okay. And then let's come over here and say every animal deserves a second chance. Paste in style. And I don't know if you noticed this, but from our original homepage that we had, I kept some of the content that we already decided we wanted in the original video where we set up everything with AI. So giving your animal a second chance, opening your heart and home, experiencing unconditional love and companionship. Those were all pieces of content the AI tool helped us generate in that first video. So it's not that I'm completely cutting it. I'm just saying, oh, that's interesting, but I'd like to curate that conversation for the user in a different way. And so we've kind of cut all of that here too. So every animal deserves a second chance. Now this is the H1, so we need to change that to be the H2. And I'm actually going to eliminate the font size here altogether and let it do its thing naturally based on what we have in our theme customizer settings. And we want to make sure this is set to be our H1 actually. And I'm also going to turn that guy off there. Let's save. Let's refresh. So underneath here, we need to add our piece of content. We also need to add our eyebrow text there as well. So let's go ahead and just duplicate this. Go up above, set this to be div, adopt, don't shop is what it's going to say here. And if you're wondering why there's so much padding, that's because by nature, the headings have more padding to kind of differentiate line breaks. So the way to get rid of that is go to the advanced tab, and underneath the top we can just set that to 0, or if you wanted to actually click into it, you could also drag this tool around, and that should reduce the margin and padding. There might be some here too. Yep, looks like there's some already. So we can just eliminate that or make it extra small there. And then the other thing I like to do is style that to be all caps, and I like to make that a little bit smaller, like 14 pixels. I think that looks pretty good. And we don't want to adopt the pet today. Let's delete that. Let's actually make this 2x here and here. And let's center align this. Maybe this has some, yeah, let's eliminate that. What I'm thinking we can do underneath this section here is have the next section kind of go like it's overlapping. So that's kind of my direction I want to go in. I want to change out this background image though, because it's a dog being checked by a vet based on the Pexels integration that we did, but I don't love that. So I think I'd like to feature some cats next. Okay, so let's go see if we can find a cat that would make a better background image for this instead of these vet pics. So let's try this one of the cat and the dog snuggling, and let's select. I think that's super cute. Let's make sure we can get both of them in there. And then, so let's go right here and let's go add before. Now, for this next option, we know that we need to display the available pets that are open for adoption. all of our pets are set up as a custom post type, which functions the same way a blog post would. So we can either use a post block or we can use a post grid carousel in order to accomplish what we need here. The post grid carousel is what I would prefer that we use because while it is a pro block feature, it gives you all of the design controls that you need. So let's go ahead and before we get crazy and design it all ourselves, which is totally an option, let's see if the design library has a quick section that we could pull from. So let's scroll through. I'm under this patterns tab, scroll through and find the post loop. This one here, post loop 2, actually might be the closest thing that we need. So let's go ahead and insert post loop 2. And this is using the post grid carousel. And so let's come over here to where it says select the post type and change this to say pets. Now under the number of items, I'd like to see 4 instead of 3. Now let's scroll down to where it says layout settings and also modify the columns. Now, if you click on individual, it does allow you to customize the columns for each device view. So if I were to come over here to the tablet, this gives us a gap of 2 additional ones with it styled this way. So where it says 3, let's either change that to say 4 or that needs to be 2 so that they stack on tablet. I think 4 can work if we change the column gap to be like 16. And the row gap as well could be 16. We'd have to change the sizing on this, but we could also do 2. So we'll get there. Let's just leave it at 4 for now. But I just wanted to show you on the individual layout, you can customize that for each device view. So 50 is a little big. Let's drop that down to about 32. I think that's looking pretty good. We don't need this like read more or the date. So let's go over to the advanced tab and underneath read more, let's toggle that off. That's good. Then for this footer meta, let's turn off the tags. We don't need any of that. And let's see, below title meta, we also do not want the date. Now underneath the title settings, this is way too large. So I'm gonna just eliminate all of that and let's drop this down to about an H3. This actually needs to be moved up. I'm gonna highlight the whole row layout and click the arrow to bring it up here. And let's also eliminate the padding on top. This is exactly what I need. So this wanted to be adopt a dog, and this would say view all dogs. And then these, even though on the general tab we said we want it to be pets, we only want to feature the dogs here. So let's go to the select taxonomy, click on animals by breed, and then choose dog. So only the dogs will be filtered in this view. I think I really like that. I do think that the font size is still a little too big. So let's go to the advanced tab. Let's make this about medium, maybe even large. No, large is too big. Let's actually customize this. I personally like to use EMs. That's just my own personal preference. So let's go 1.3 on this. Now it's got a lot of padding. So let's go find where we can adjust that. On the style tab, we have padding at 16 pixels. Let's delete that. Let's make that about 8. And on the bottom, we'll also make that 8. So let's go adopt a dog is here. And the only other thing we could do is we could go to the general tab, the image settings, and we could change the image ratio. So I like this as a 3:2. This is the 3:2 ratio, which is basically like 1200 by 800 pixels, is what I used for the featured image. But for this, we could use a square for design purposes, and it will just tightly crop that image in a little bit of a different way. I think all of our subjects are still within that frame to crop it appropriately to square, so I'm gonna go ahead and make that design decision now. So this looks really good. I was kind of hoping that this could potentially overlap here, but I don't know if I want it to, so let's just duplicate this entire section here. And this will say adopt a cat. This will say view all cats. And then on this post-grid carousel, underneath pets, the animals by breed, we want to change this to say cat, and we're going to remove the dog label. And so this will show up with just the cats. Now this does have quite a bit of padding in between, so maybe we just eliminate that to be about large. And let's save and see how this is looking now. So now we have this open your heart and home. We have don't shop, every animal deserves a second chance. I actually really like it like that. I was thinking that maybe this would overlap here just a little bit, but I don't think it's necessary. I think that works from a design perspective. I do think maybe a little bit more padding here and maybe a little bit more padding up here too. So this is a large. Let's make that extra large. And maybe we need to actually make this at the top be an extra large. And I eliminated all of the padding there. Okay, let's save that and see. Yeah, that's looking better. Yeah, this is looking really great. Okay, maybe we could eliminate some of the padding here. The other thing we could do as well is on this, to give it a little bit of differentiation, let's go to the Style tab, and underneath the container settings where the background setting is, let's also give that a little bit of a color. If we were to do that, we would also need to add some padding on the right and the left. So let's go 20 and 20. Whoops, not 200, just 20 is good. I think maybe even if we center these, that would also be nice. And what if we do 0 and 0 on the top? That's looking good. If we're going to do that, let's actually make this about 8 pixels so that it goes all the way around. And what if we actually make this all white and white, and this color becomes this lighter purple color? Ooh. And so it kind of feels like a little Polaroid. I kind of like that. Let's do the same thing. So let's go to the row layout on this one and change that up. And then on these, for some reason, I don't think we can do like copy it. So I'm just going to duplicate this and put it where I want it to go, and then just change those same taxonomies. So let's eliminate that and go cat here instead. Eliminate the dog. We should be good to go. There. Now let's save and let's see. So right now, one of the reasons I'm like, this kind of feels a little boring because there's a lot here, and it just like visually you kind of need it to be more together. And I like how we are going from like a light color into that deeper color and then into the purple. These are like in the same kind of family, so I really like that. And I like that this feels separated from this, as well as this feels separated from this. So I think I'm really happy with the way that is turning out design-wise. So the next section that we had is to become a foster family. So let's scroll through here and see if there is a section that will really just allow us to utilize that. I feel like this section here could really work if we like eliminated some of this content, changed it, and then, so let's maybe try to pull that section up since we already have a template to work with. And actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to copy this. I'm going to go copy here, come all the way up, and then we're going to go insert before, when I click on those 3 dots, I'm going to Command V, which is going to paste that in. And let's just eliminate this gallery altogether. We don't need that. This seems to be stretching a specific height. Let's go see how this one is built. So we have this image advanced, and it is set to a portrait. So let's go ahead and drop that to about a square. I think that's going to look a little bit better for us. And then let's change this content. Okay, so let's come over here, and it's going to say become a foster family. This accolades thing we don't need. And also with this being styled as an H6, that's going to cause an SEO alert, just because you're not supposed to have a higher heading above other headings. So like your H6 should be at the very bottom. So it's kind of out of order by having an H6 here than having an H2. So I'm just going to eliminate that altogether. I used to style it that way too, but I've changed kind of the way I do that based on the SEO practice. So become a foster family is going to be the content we're putting there. And then if we copy this, paste this here, and then we have the learn more. So let's do a button. I'm going to go to the button advanced. Again, I'm going to go to the theme because it's already styled in my customizer, and it's going to say foster today. So I had foster today. What did I put on the text? I had learn more. I like foster today. That's a little bit more actionable than just saying learn more. Learn more is kind of vague. So let's keep with the foster today option. So now that we have our content in place, on the right-hand side, we have our image, and we also have this info box. Okay, so this info box is pulling in this content. I didn't plan to have content there, so I could potentially try and like use that as maybe a testimonial block or something, but I also just think I could probably delete this. And since I want more control over the responsive way that this image is going to look, I'm going to go ahead and actually remove this image too. And then I'm going to nest the image in the background of the section by clicking on the section, going to the Style tab, clicking the section image, and let's do the Foster one, and let's do this cute little kitten image here. Now, it might look funny, but if we go up to this row layout area, go to Advanced, go to Structure, click Inner Column Height 100%, it will stretch to the same height as your content will, which is really great. Then if we come over, let's click into this section again, Style tab, let's go to the border styles. I'm going to change the radius to about 16 pixels, which will round that corner for us as well. So let's say this is how it's looking. Now, if we want this to have a specific height, you could add a spacer or a divider in here, or you could also just leave that empty. Come up to this section, go to the Advanced tab, Structure Settings, and we could set the view height to be a specific amount. So if I give this 32, maybe actually 44, it's going to start shifting in a way that makes sense for you. So we could do 50%. I think that actually looks really good. And let's go ahead and save. Now I want to preview this. So one thing I also like to consider is how my eye moves down the page. And you know what else? This does not have that rounded edge that we want. So let's hop back over here and actually change that too. So this border style, let's set this to be 16 pixels. Refresh. Now we've got that rounded corner. Coming in, adopt, don't shop. Every animal deserves a second chance. We have the adoption options. Then we have this become a foster family. So what I'm thinking about is my eye. My eye sees an image on the left. I come down, I go center. I see all of these options in the center, and then the next image is on the right. So I do like that structure. Let's see what happens though if I maybe make this about 40-60 the same way, and we make this a little bit larger. And let's eliminate that. I'm going to change this EM to 1.2, save. I don't like orphan words in website design. An orphan word is a single word on its own line. I think that's cute though. Become a foster family today. And let's just say learn more. I don't love that, as I previously mentioned. And I also don't love the specific values. I like using the clamp settings now just for consistency. So I'm going to also eliminate that and include the extra large. That's got 2XL there. Let's do 2XL here. So now let's see how that works. So now it feels a little bit more balanced when we have this image being that height or that size, and then this one is the other size. This looks actually pretty good so far. I'm liking the way this is shaping up. And again, we started with the template and we're just customizing it as we go. So now we have this other section for other ways to get involved. And I was thinking about having this of like a section with 2 options and then another spot for events underneath it. So I don't think that we're going to need this style at all. Let me actually go see what other sections we had to work with. So I don't think there's really any of the other sections that I wanted to use here. So what I actually want to do is just eliminate the rest of these because I don't think, might want to keep the what the community says, because we do want to have some testimonials here in a minute, and we already used that section. So now let's go add before, go back to our design library, and let's see how we could style media and text, for instance. So we have, let's just scroll through here and see if there's anything that might work for what we need. I'm not seeing anything in particular. This seems like a lot of media with just a little bit of text. What if we go find something over in the cards or info box? Let's try cards. So something like this might actually work because we could have our headline and then we could have each of our 2 options down below. So here, card 14 might work really well. Let's see if there's anything else. Okay, so let's just use this cards 1 option. I think that's good enough, and it should automatically put it into the spot. I like it being white. Now this is an H2, so that's good. This call to action can go away. So let's go look at our content. Other ways to get involved. So this is much smaller. Other ways to get involved. The overline text goes away. Let's add our piece of content here. And so this has, let's also just reset these. So by nature, this is the way it would work. And then I don't think we need any of that. So let's eliminate this. Let's make sure that this is set to max theme, which it is. So other ways to get involved. Let's see. We got the row gutter. So I'm going to drop that down to medium here. And okay. Let's change this content out. It's going to say donate. And this does not need to be. This would be an H3. This will say, whoops, this should say donate. And this should be the piece of text. And this will say, say give to happy tails. Love that. Okay, so this works really well. Let's go change our image out though. I think having an image with the vet could be an interesting way to go about that because it's showing that their funds are going towards the pet care. So I think this is a good image to use here. And then let's just, this section, I'm going to duplicate it and then click into this whole section all together and eliminate it. So now we have other ways to get involved. We have donate, and all of the changes I just made are the exact same. The only thing is this style should be blue instead because it is a call to action and we want that to be number 2. So let's go ahead and set this to color palette number 1, and then on hover, let's set this to color palette number 2 so that there's a little bit of a variation. Again, I think we're going to customize that in a minute. And instead, let's change out this content to say volunteer. And let's change out this piece of text here. And then let's change this to say, I kind of like the words get involved, but I also am kind of like, I don't know that I love that either, because we're going to use that for a different call to action for another page. So let's just say volunteer, maybe sign up today, something like that. I think that's good. And then let's come over here to edit and find a different picture. This picture of the guy hugging, or maybe even these 3 people. Let's go ahead and select that one. That could work. I mean, it's kind of weird having a picture of greens and milk bottles, but I think that's fine enough for now. So now it says other ways to get involved. We have these 2 options, and then underneath this, so underneath this row layout all together, this row layout, let's go add after, and let's do another row layout. Let's see, before I add my own, let's see if they have events over here. I don't see an events option. Let's type events in here as well. There's no patterns for the events, which is fine. So let's just actually come in here and clone all of this. So I clicked on the first one, held my shift key, went to the last one, and then I am copying this and I'm going to paste it here. So I'll do paragraph, hit Command V, which will paste it. And then this says, instead of donate, it needs to say community events. So let's do that here. Let's change this to say that piece of content, and then underneath here, let's type in events and let's do the events list. So this is going to showcase events in this kind of list view. Let's actually see what other options there are. And instead of doing the backslash, I'm gonna actually click on this plus and type in event. So there's event categories and there's also the events list. Those are the only options we have to choose from. Let me actually come up here and see if we can choose events. We can choose events. Ooh, I like that. So let's copy this. Let's see if that is a better option for us. Let's Command V on this. Oops, I must not have copied the right thing. Copy that, paste. Let's change this to be events. It does work, but it also doesn't work. Okay, so this works, but I think what we need to do is kind of change a few things. Why don't up here, instead of like actually showcasing each of the events, on the row layout, let's change this to 3. And then let's just duplicate this all together and eliminate this particular one. I'm going to add a block, get this section, delete it. And then we will just change this text and then people can learn more about view upcoming events. And this would say events. Should I say community events? I think so. And then on this one, we should do some sort of event if possible. Maybe this cute woman holding the animal. We got a lot of masks in this, but this all came from, those images all came from Pexels. If I were actually doing this for a real live client, I would probably curate those images a little bit more, but for now that totally works. Okay, so in this particular spot, I think we're good on that. So other ways to get involved, originally on my option, I wanted to showcase those 3 events, but I think having a third option, so insert, if I go insert a row, a column to the right, this community events will all be here. So I think that works a little bit better here. And then we have this about section. So in this particular option, I think I just want to duplicate this and then drop this down below. And instead of having a background image, we haven't had a dark section again, actually. You know what I want to actually do? I'm going to copy this and add before, paste this in, and then this, let's say about Happy Tales Shelter. We'll delete this piece of text. And let's add this content. And this would say a button, which would be get involved today. And this needs some, let's just reset this. So that could work for us because we're trying to like have some higher contrasting sections in between. I don't know that I love that this is all centered. It's quite a lot of text to be centered. Let's make that theme and let's left justify this. Let's like separate this into 2. So this is text, color. Okay, I think that is nice, but we need to change this background image as well again. And let's do this one, sweet little one of this boy running with his dog. And then we have this set to fix. Let's actually set that to parallax so that the image will stay as we scroll and then the little boy will be in view as we go. The other thing I want to do is go to the layout settings. So this is about 870. Maybe we drop that to about 800 and save, and let's see how that's looking. Yeah, I think that's nice. If we wanted to keep those like little count up options, we could do it like this and then add those count up blocks back in, but we're gonna have to change, let's just inherit that if we do that. And let's go to the advanced tab and let's give this like medium on the sides, save. And then we could have those like little count up blocks happening here where we're like, this number of many people have been impacted. So let's go to the design library. Let's see if we have the counter and stats. Ooh, we do. Ooh, this is good too though. Maybe we should just change this section altogether. This was the other section that we did previously have, where there's 3 things counting up. Oh man, there's so many good choices. Let's actually insert this entire thing and see how we like that. And let's push that up. And I'll cancel that. Let's see, this particular, haha. So this is just giving us, oh, it's got the whole image back there. So let's change that to be white then, save. So that's going to be a challenge for us. This image probably will not work because the box is on top of this guy's face. Okay. So let's can this, right? Let's just say, let's not do that one anymore. And let's come over here. Let's just do, let's go back into our counter or stats. I kind of like this as well. So let's insert this one. If we wanted to, we could say about Happy Tails Shelter here and make that normal and make this that blue color or this purple color. Maybe make that like 70%, and then we can copy all of this instead. Let's delete that, paste it, and this needs to be changed. Okay, and then for our stat title, what we would need to do, actually, you know what, while we have this here, let's go to the Style tab, the border styles, and let's make this border radius of 16 all the way around. Yeah, I kind of like that actually. And we could even like make this a little bit bigger. But the image that we need to use needs to be changed. Let's go, I don't know if we can use the little boy anymore. Kind of need another close-up of pets. Let's go use this one here of this woman. It's just such a weird shot. We really need a horizontal image. Let's go this couple that's like snuggling, although it just looks like they're snuggling. Man, this one's actually a hard one. Let's use this picture of this cat. I think we're gonna need to pick a different image. What if we do this one of them snuggling here, select it, and they'll be able to see the different little snoots. And then up here, let's change this one to a different image. And let's do the woman with yoga. She'll be able to see the dog as you scroll. Okay, that works better, except I think this needs to be even darker here. So let's go all the way up to 80, about Happy Tails Shelter, and then we can say, you know, pets saved. And on this is just the spacer actually. So let's do the count up block. And we'll start at 0 and we'll say, you know, 12,560 animals. We can say we want there to be a separator at the thousands, no decimal, and then we can just say lives saved. Oh, actually, we don't have to have anything there at all. Let's go style, show title. Yeah, that's kind of cool. And you know what, actually, we can just get rid of that. And on this one, do the title that says pets saved. And we'll make this like an H4. Div is fine. And let's just maybe bold this. And we'll bold it. And maybe make it a little bit bigger, maybe not bolded. Yeah, something like that I think totally works. And then let's just delete all of these and do the same thing. So we'll duplicate this and duplicate this. We can say stat number 2, and then we'll say stat number 3. Maybe we say like 22. What if we say like 150 volunteers? And then we could even say like 6. What if we say expert vets? I don't know. Like we're just kind of making that part up there. So on this row layout, I'm kind of thinking, sorry, this row layout, we need to drop this to be like, yeah, something like that I think is much better. That is super unique and cute, I actually think. So I really like that. Okay, so then we can get rid of this guy altogether. And then what is after that section? Then we have our positive pet stories, which would go into, let's delete this because I cloned that and don't need it. What our community says, we could just keep this exact same design here. I'd be good with that. I can eliminate this here since it kind of goes right after. I actually like the transition of that. What our community says, let's actually change the text to say positive pet stories. So originally I had this layout idea in my head where there would be like a featured story on the left and 2 quotes going on the right. But because of the way we've got this design, this totally works just fine. So let's click into here on this section. And in this section, we have the image. So let's flip this out to, I don't know, this little dachshund. We can also change this out to another image. It could be this woman here with her pet, and then we'll do one more. The image, we'll change out this to this Maine Coon, pretty animal. Okay, so I'm not going to change any of that content because this is all dummy content anyway, but I think I like the way that that's kind of laid out. I personally like this when everything is lined at the bottom. Positive. I don't love, yeah, let's do it that way because this is a play on words. And we can also drop that. Let's do 40-60 there. I'm just going to drop that to say, and let's go ahead and save that. And that's looking good. And then we just need one final call to action. So right now we have this team section, this impact section. I thought I got rid of that, but let's delete it. And let's go add after, and let's go to the design library one last time. Let's see if we can find a call to action. Maybe it's just like the media and text. Let's try that. I think this could be really nice, this media and text, because it's got that rounded look, although a dark overlay could be really beautiful too. Something like this, but we don't, let's do that. We don't need that little icon, so we can just delete this altogether. Delete. And then this is quite large, so let's drop this down to like XXL. And our final will say make a difference today. And we'll say get involved. And I'm not sure why. Let's just reset all of that. And same with this. Oops. This should be like none. This feels off. Okay. And make a difference today. This will say get involved. So let's go ahead and save that. And now let's go and preview how this is looking. So let's start from the top and say, okay, open your heart and home to a pet in need. Now we have adopt, don't shop. Every animal deserves a second chance. Adopt a dog, adopt a cat, become a foster today. Other ways to get involved, donate, volunteer, community events. About Happy Tail Shelter. I feel like I want this to be a little bit bigger. And I also kind of feel like maybe a drop text there could be interesting. And this text needs to go over to the right. And then we have the make a difference today. I think overall that's looking really good though. So let's fix those minor issues I just brought up. So starting here, I think we're gonna have to, so the 5XL is as high as it goes. So let's play around with this to make it be like 180 and the bottom being like 400. 180 is way too much. 100, 300, 200. I think I like that a little bit better. And then here, now we can't do the drop cap on a so let's transform that to a regular paragraph, and then underneath the typography, you could do a drop cap if we wanted to and turn that on. Because our title is above, it kind of feels like it needs, visually we need something here. And I also like how this H kind of weighs out the other font sizes that we have going over here, which we actually could drop that down just a little bit on the numbers, the number settings. Yeah, that's it. Let's do like 32, 44. I think I like that better. And I think I want to add some, no, not on that. Let's do this actually on the text, the title. Here we go. And let's just copy and paste these styles. That is looking much better. Okay. And then I also mentioned this needs to be aligned to the right. I actually think I want to make sure that the overlay settings are more in that purpley color and a little bit darker. Let's save. And let's refresh. Get involved. Happy Tail Shelter, we got the numbers climbing. Discover what our members have to say. Yeah, I think this is looking really good. So that is as easy as it is to customize this entire page design. Now that's pretty much all it takes to customize the homepage from a desktop perspective. Now there's more to do here. We really need to go through and optimize each device view as well. So the way that we do that is go back into the editor, click into the first row layout, and click onto an option that shows you the tablet view. Now you can come over here and change this to your heart's content as well. So let's just say that we wanted this to be stacked instead of them being side by side. On tablet, this will actually show the image up top and then have the content down below. Then, of course, if we need to modify the padding, change font sizes, you can do those anytime that you want to. So now if I were to just like drag and drop this to extra large instead of 2XL, that only impacted the change that's here on this tablet view. If I drop down to mobile, it has its own settings here too, in which case we can change all of those settings. So in addition to making sure everything looks good on desktop, you'll also need to go through and make sure everything is pixel perfect on both tablet and also on the mobile views as well. So go through that process, and I won't bore you and show you every little click, but I think that that is important to make sure that you are optimizing every single page design to look good on every device view. So that is all it takes to really customize your pages. Again, start with the AI starter template or one of our full page templates, cut what doesn't work based on the content that you curate, add in new section designs using the design library. It's also a really great point to bring up that we also have the Kadence Experts Marketplace as well. So if you are also like, you know what, I really love all of the templates that Kadence provides, but I want another level, go check out our experts in the design library. They have child themes and design libraries that you can actually manually hook up and then import the designer's designs. Now, keep in mind, all of those designers are independent and not affiliated or associated with Kadence in any way. But if you are looking for third-party resources, check out that marketplace. I think that's going to be a handy tool for you as well. So that's it for this video. I hope that you now have some tools to empower you to go through and customize all of your pages using Kadence Blocks. In the next video, we're going to be talking about how to customize the header. As you can see with this new homepage design, we really don't need that transparent header anymore. So I'm going to actually show you how to build a header with the new advanced header builder that we just recently released. So stay tuned for that, and I will see you guys in the next video.